All right, my fourth grade friends, we're just going to do a really quick, easy introduction to the next lesson this week because some of you need to finish your trees, and also the friends here at school, we are behind. We are just getting to marker printing the background of our trees this week, just because those half-an-hour classes are really tricky to try to squeeze everything in. So if you haven't finished your tree and the background, I recommend that you try to get that done. And then this is just a little bit of a practice as we move into our next lesson, which is going to be these really cool Yayoi Kusama inspired pumpkins. So we're going to talk about shape versus form. So if I was going to draw a shape pumpkin, I would draw a circle and I would draw a rectangle. But does that pumpkin look realistic? No, not quite. So we are going to talk about how we transform the pumpkin into something more of a form. So if we think about pumpkins, they are not always perfectly round. So what I want you to do is think about coming out and around like this. And so there's this little divot in here. This is kind of going to be where the stem goes. And then we're going to kind of come out and back around here. And again, it does not have to be perfectly rounded. In fact, pumpkins have sort of abnormal edges. So if it kind of curves in and goes out, that's even better. Okay? Now, then what we're going to do is we're going to think about drawing sort of those contours of the pumpkin, because a lot of times what happens is when you're younger, you draw the lines like this, but the pumpkin looks very flat. But I'm going to show you a trick. By drawing some lines a little bit in a different way, the pumpkin will look like it has more form. So we're going to start by drawing one line down the middle, all right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to look at this curved line here. And we want to draw a line that is just like that curve, but a little bit further away from it. So I'm going to kind of come out like that. So I'm going that way. And then I'm going to also do the same thing over on this side, but I'm not going to go that way over here. I'm going to follow the contour of this outer edge, which goes the opposite way. So again, I'm just following along kind of like that. And then I'm going to put one more on this side here and one more on this side here. And now my pumpkin looks a lot more realistic. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to think about my stem, right? And a stem is kind of a living, growing, it's part of the vine, of the pumpkin. So I'm going to draw it like a vine. And if you go into the pumpkin field, a lot of times pumpkin stems are not exactly straight, right? So there's kind of a silly one. And then you can, if I draw an oval there, then it kind of gives it the illusion that it has form. And then you can also draw the lines of the vine to give it texture. So there is a pumpkin that looks a lot more realistic than a pumpkin that is just drawn like this. So your assignment this week is to practice drawing pumpkins so that they look like they have form. Another thing that you can do is you can grab a pumpkin. Maybe you have bought some pumpkins already, and you can grab the pumpkin and practice drawing the pumpkin from real life. But you can also just follow this step by step and do it a couple of times. Practice so that you can see draw a pumpkin that looks like it's real, like we could pick it off the page. As always, if you have any questions or problems, I'll look forward to checking in with you on Monday.